Good morning to Puan Fatima. Today I'm going to present the issue of teacher readiness in classroom-based assessment. Before I started to discuss about the issue, let me make some introduction about Malaysian education system. There has been interesting development in the dynamics of education system in Malaysia, especially the content knowledge in subjects such as science, mathematics, and languages. The international studies such as trends in international mathematics and science study teams and program for international student assessment PISA have influence on the direction and development of science education where it has become initiatives for change in a bold move for Malaysia. The result shows that when Malaysia first participated in teams in 1999, its average student score was higher than the international average in both mathematics and science, and kept rising until 2003. However, the system's performance had slipped to below the international average in both mathematics and science, with a commensurate drop in ranking in 2011. Critically, the average score for students in Malaysia is below the international average score. These students were identified as possessing only limited mastery of basic mathematical and scientific concepts. In PISA 2009, Malaysian students scored 404 in mathematics literacy and 422 in science literacy, far below the international average. In PISA 2012, Malaysian students' performance continued to decline for all three domains. Malaysia scored 421 in mathematics literacy and 420 in science literacy. Malaysia ranked at the bottom third for all three literacy being assessed. According to the MOE, the result of Malaysian students in PISA 2015 witnessed slight improvements with scores 443 in science literacy and 446 in mathematics literacy. However, the results of all three literacies were still far below the international average. In order to properly address the needs of all Malaysians and to prepare the nation to perform at an international level, it is important to first envision what a highly successful education system must accomplish, particularly in the Malaysian context. The review of Malaysia Education Blueprint, where the main aim is to equip students holistically to compete in the global economy and society in the 21st century, contains six key attributes needed by every student to be globally competitive. Well, in the transformation process of Malaysia education, assessment is needed to provide students and teachers with knowledge and information about student learning outcomes, strengths, and weaknesses. In Malaysia, to assess the students, school-based assessment is administered by the subject students perpetually in the teaching and learning process aligned with the 21st century skills to assess the quality of teaching and learning in Malaysia's public school since 2011. School-based assessment is being renamed as classroom assessment in 2016. The instruction on the implementation of classroom assessment for level 1 primary school students, on the other hand, is a new mandate that must be implemented starting in 2019. In the context of the educational practice, there are some crucial issues with respect to assessment, which demand the attention of all those who are concerned with the quality of teaching and learning process. One of the issues that was determined by previous researchers is the level of teacher readiness for classroom-based assessment implementation. Teachers' readiness is assessed based on their knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Based on the statement by the examination board, it can be stated that teachers do not have a complete understanding of the implementation of SBA nor the process of teaching and learning. Many researchers attempted to assess the level of teacher readiness for classroom assessment implementation. Stevens, too, in 2005 had noted that teachers lacked preparation in conducting a new form of assessment for learning because they lacked opportunities to learn the appropriate techniques and proper assessment practice. It is very obvious that teacher readiness had become a crucial issue in the Malaysian education system. Therefore, the issue is studied by collecting data from teachers in SJKC Kichi in Alosota Kedah in the form of questionnaires. According to the result, all of the teachers agree that they need more time to prepare an instrument of classroom-based assessment. Most of them also agree that the preparation of various instruments had become a burden for them. Furthermore, up to 50% of teachers agree that they are not getting ready to evaluate their students according to the performance level determined in classroom-based assessment. The issue will then evaluated from the aspect of strength, weakness, and solutions. One of the strengths of teacher readiness issue is that the Malaysian government has historically shown its commitment to the reformation of the education system. This is because the government continues in its efforts to improve the quality of the teacher. This is because the government continues in its effort to improve the quality of the teacher profession to attract better qualified people to enter the teaching profession. For example, pre-service programs in Malaysia are designed for the training of pre-service teachers for both primary and secondary schools. The Malaysia government in July 2005 upgraded all its 27 teacher training colleges to institutes of teacher education. The Bachelor of Teaching PISMP program is specially designed to supply primary school teachers. Its curriculum operated on 5 basic principles, namely to be outcome-based, coherent, spiral, and developmental, holistic, as well as practical and contextual. The aim was to achieve specific learning outcomes as required by the Malaysian Qualified Framework in accordance with the 21st century skills. The PISMP program not only focuses on the integration of knowledge, but also skills and noble values, where students acquire hands-on learning through the transfer of theoretically knowledge to real-life situations. Students have to take compulsory course on technology in teaching and learning, an additional subject of computer-aided instruction, which in turn enables them to be proficient in the preparation and organization of ICT materials for teaching and the resource multimedia materials. Then, the second strength of the issue is the development of key competencies through ICT in students and teachers. The reference framework sets out 8 key competences, which are communication in the mother tongue, communication in foreign language, mathematical competence and basic competences in science and technology, digital competence, learning to learn, social and civic competencies, sense of initiative and entrepreneurship, and finally, cultural awareness and expression. The teacher readiness is also include the availability of ICT facilities in school and teacher ICT skills to prepare the assessment. As a consequence, the ICT education through ICT allows all key competences to be involved and developed. The example of evidence can be referred to the government commitment toward developing information technology-based education systems in schools. The year 2003 onwards, the government commitments toward developing information technology-based education system in schools has been increased. 5 billion ringgit was budgeted within 7 years' time for the Ministry of Education in Malaysia. The Ministry of Education presented the necessary infrastructure to enable teacher readiness in implementing the change. The research also reported that the ministry set up 14 working committees to implement the decision. These committees represent the areas of curriculum, textbooks, teacher training, teacher resources, supplementary resources, ICT, publicity, monitoring, assessment, special education, technical studies, matriculation programs, promoting English language use, and special funding for schools. Innovating computer knowledge among students had become one of the main focus of the Ministry of Education, where schools were completed with computer lab facilities and ICT teachers. The computer literacy has been introduced as a subject in schools. Subjects with modified curricula in school insist the usage of computer among the teachers and students. However, there are still weaknesses that appear in the issue of teachers' readiness. Firstly, teachers in Malaysia are facing the problem of heavy workloads, which can limit their ability to devote time and energy to effectively implementing classroom assessment. As SBA announced in 2012, teachers' workload increases as they have to conduct the assessment process from beginning. They have to key in the marks online in the school-based assessment management system. This means that teachers' understanding and commitment is crucial as they are empowered to assess their students. On the other hand, the findings shows that the majority of teachers need more time to prepare an assessment instrument of SBA. This situation exists because SBA is formative assessment of all time and is burdensome because each teacher should formulate their tests and questions according to the level of pupils and their classes. Although most of the teachers acquire skills through SBA training and courses, they are having trouble filling marks online for their work. This is because the poorly designed SBA's management system could not accommodate the massive traffic and usage. Moreover, the large number of students in one class contributes to the difficulty in assessing every student. As a result, the data entry is extensively time assuming. Moreover, teachers in rural area experience higher level of workload than those in urban area. This may be due to the lack of facilities and internet coverage at the rural area. Next, the second weaknesses of teacher readiness issue is limited assessment literacy. Even though the teachers are well prepared for the assessment in class, some teachers may lack a strong understanding of assessment theory and best practices, potentially leading to inconsistent assessment practices. This is because there is a lack of supporting materials for the implementation of SBA. Despite the school-based SP, Despite the school-based assessment implementation handbook and pupils learning progress guide being prepared by the Malaysian Examination Syndicate to guide teachers in the implementation of SBA, teachers were found to be confused with the grading system. Teachers were also constantly complaining about insufficient SBA implementation modules. Since the ready-made instruments are hardly found in the market, teachers were forced to develop their own instrument even though they only have a minimum knowledge of item development. This eventually caused the invalid measure of pupils as the instrument developed have low validity and reliability. Hence, there are some solutions suggested to solve the weakness of the issue. To reduce the workload of teachers, the online teaching system is introduced by the Education Ministry. According to the ministry, the online teaching system such as One Dasari One Net can reduce the workload of teachers by at least 50%. The implementation VLE technology in Malaysia, known as Frog VLE, was a part of Educational Information System expansion initiated by Ministry of Education Malaysia through One Bestari One Net project to improve the previous version of school net service. Through the initiative, MOE aims to connect the entire schools across the nation via cloud-based VLE, supported by high-speed 4G internet connection by the end of 2013. With the One Bestari One Net, teachers in rural areas would have access to the network. Whereas the Lima stands for Digital Educational Learning Initiative Malaysia, and the launch event was completed by the Director General of Education Malaysia, Dr. Habibah Abdul Rahim. It is a rebranding of MOE digital learning platform developed by MOE after Frog VLE. The Lima is a single platform that provides learning managed system, services and learning resources that to the educators and students can use to learn online. The Delima system is supported by three main strategic partners, which are Google, Microsoft, and Apple. As part of their corporate social responsibility, Apple Education, Microsoft Education, and Google Education all offer various programs for international school education. They support this latest KPM initiative by providing specialized access to educational system with a complete with applications that supply learning ideas and modules. In this way, digital learning platform can provide personalized learning experiences for students, allowing them to progress at their own pace. This can reduce the need for one-size-fits-all teaching methods, potentially easing the workload for teachers dealing with diverse students' needs. Next, the solution to solve the problem of limited assessment literacy is establishing clear and comprehensive national assessment guidelines that provide teachers with a framework for designing and implementing effective assessment. The research by Susila is collecting data through observation of the oral English assessment sessions and policy and school documents related to OEA. According to the interview and observation data in the research, the respondents who are teachers agreed that the process of implementation needed to be improved, especially in the terms of guidelines on grading format or schema, clearly stated criteria, and allocation of marks for various components to tackle the subjective nature of the assessment. Therefore, government should provide rubric with clear sense of direction, purpose, proper task design, scoring methods, freedom for bias and effective use of assessment so that teachers to carry out efficient and effective classroom-based assessment. Clear guidelines would also bring about a certain degree of uniform and standardization will solve the problem of limited assessment literacy. This is end of my presentation. Thank you.